Good afternoon, one and all. Passion is the driving force behind success and happiness that allows us all to live better lives. Today, we have gathered here virtually for the webinar on Finding the Balance, Passion and Profession, the third webinar organized by the Department of Mathematics, St. Joseph Engineering College, Mangalore. On behalf of the entire SJC family, I, Lawlin D'Souza, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, extend a warm and hearty welcome to the speaker, Ms. Ashwini Shenoy, and all the participants for this wonderful webinar on finding the balance, passion, and profession. In the panel, we have the speaker, Ms. Ashwini Shenoy, the coordinator for this webinar, Ms. Rachana Krasta, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, SJEC, Dr. Jagdisha B., Associate Professor, Department of Mathematics, SJEC, Ms. Eliama George and Ms. Salma Shabnam, Assistant Professors, Department of Mathematics, SJEC. Before we start, I would like to give you some instructions. Mics of all the participants are muted. Use the chat box for posting any queries. E-certificate will be provided for all the active participants and the ones who fill the feedback form, which will be shared at the end of the session in the chat box. Recording of the webinar will be available in the SJEC YouTube channel within a week. I now request Ms. Eliama George, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, to introduce the speaker of today's webinar, Ms. Ashwini Shenoy.
Good afternoon. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce the speaker of today's session, Ms. Ashwini Shenoy, an author, engineer, artist, a freelance blogger, moreover an alumni of SJEC 2010-14 ECE batch. Ashwini is an electronics engineer by profession and a writer by passion. Shikhandini, Warrior Princess of the Mahabharata, is her debut novel published by Let's Start Publishers in October 2019. The book was critically acclaimed by readers, book lovers, and reviewers from around the world. Shikhandini was featured as one of the top 100 best-selling novels in its category on Amazon within the first month of release. Ashwini has also been featured in some popular newspapers like The Hands India, Times of India Student Edition, The New Indian Express, and News Today Chennai. After her graduation from SJEC Mangalore, she cleared GATE 2014 and joined PES University Bangalore to pursue her master's in VLSI Design and Embedded Systems. In addition to a master's degree in technology, Ashwini holds a diploma in creative writing from IGNOU. Ashwini has about 4 years of industry experience and is currently working as an automotive engineer at Aptiv Automotive. She is also a certified Scrum Master working with the organization towards agile transformation. She has previously worked with esteemed organizations like Intel and Tektronix. Ashwini is also a freelance blogger with a popular blog where she writes on the variety of topics. Her blog post in the category Positivity During Lockdown has been appreciated by many readers. She also has her own virtual book club called ABC Ashwini's Book Club, started to help people inculcate the habit of reading and introducing great books to each other. Apart from her passion for writing, Ashwini is a keen photographer and an avid painter in oils. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, Ashwini, once again and request you to take over the session. Over to you, Ashwini.
I'll present my desktop. Just let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes, we can see it, Ashwini.
So, firstly, before I start, I would like to thank SJEC for giving me this opportunity to connect with all of you. And I hope at the end of this 40 minutes, 1 hour session, you all will be able to take away something from this session, which will help you not only today when you all are graduating, but also in the years to come. So how did I come up with this topic? So when I was asked to pick a topic for this webinar, I started thinking what was it that I had learned in the last 6 years after I graduated from SJEC, which would help you all, and also what was it that I could tell you which you already did not know. And when I was doing this, I started going through these interviews and all the review questionnaires that were sent to me when I first wrote my book, when the book was published. And I saw this one common question that everyone wanted to know. How was I balancing my passion and my profession? How was I holding a full time job and still managing to write a book? And this was something not only people of my age and younger than me, but also people older than me wanted to know. And that is how I came up with this topic, finding the balance, passion, and profession. So, a little bit about me. I'm Ashwini Shenoy. I'm an author, an engineer, and I also a freelance blogger. I write on a variety of topics and musings, short stories. And if you're interested, you can read those by clicking on the link that I've put up below. That is my website. So, without further ado, let's go to the topic. So, today's presentation will have major 4 topics: my journey, finding your passion, continuing your profession, and putting the two together. And for putting the two together, that is balancing the two, I will be talking about 4 main virtues: compartmentalization, time and energy management, consistency, and the most important, failures. And all of this is mostly based on my experience when balancing the two. So, something about my journey. In 2014, I graduated from SJEC, and as a child, my schooling was done in different parts of India owing to my father's job. And after graduating from SJEC, the same year I cleared my GATE exam and I decided to pursue my master's. I came to Bangalore to do that in PS University. At the end of my first year of post graduation, I started my internship at Intel. And along the same time, I started writing short stories, a long forgotten hobby which I started again. In 2016, I graduated from PS University and started my own blog, which still happens to be my happy place on the internet. 2017, I joined Tektronix and I started working on my first novel. 2018, I joined Aptiv. I left Tektronix for a better opportunity, and the same year I got an offer for my book. In 2019, Shikandani was published, and the same year I pursued my certification for the Scrum Master role. Now, you guys might be wondering why am I giving you this year by year account of my journey. I just want you to hold this thought for a while because in my last slide, I'm going to talk more about this and you will realize why it is important. So, before we talk about, what is how to find your passion and how to balance the two and everything else related to it, let's ask the basic question. What is passion? Okay, what is that one word or one sentence that comes to your mind when you think about passion? I want you guys to use the chat box and put in whatever you think it is. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to know your thoughts. Unfortunately, I won't be able to read it right now, but at the end of this, I will go through those points. So we'll wait about for 10 seconds till you put in your thoughts. Okay. So when I heard about this word passion, I did what most people do. I Googled it. And this is what Google says about passion. Okay, someone answered hobbies. That is really good. Dedication filled with spirit. I really like that answer. So, passion is a feeling of intense enthusiasm towards or a compelling desire for something or someone. Now, let's forget the someone part because that can be another topic altogether. Let's focus on passion as a feeling. Okay, and the good or the bad part about feeling is it changes, it is only natural. which means your passion can also change. I hear a lot of people, beating themselves up, thinking that they thought something was their passion, but they no longer feel the same about it. So, what I want to tell you guys is it is completely natural to feel so. There is nothing to feel bad about it. So, once you know what is passion, the next question that's going to come to your mind is, how do I find my passion? Correct. So at least once in your life you have asked this question. How do I find my passion? I don't know what it is. And it doesn't matter what age you are. This question is going to come to your mind. And there is no concrete answer that I can give you for this question, but there are things from my own experience that I can help you out with. The first thing is, don't wait. Passion is not going to come and look for you. If you just simply sit, it's not going to come to you. What you need to do is you need to keep trying out new things. Do what you want to do at the moment, what you feel like doing at the moment. Okay. So, when you watch a reality show or you watch a movie, you read a book, you like this one character or one art form, and it tells you, maybe if I try a bit, I can also become like that person. I can start doing that. And a few minutes after that, you will just shut yourself up saying that, this is all superficial. It is not going to happen. So don't do that. Give it a shot. And even if you fail, it's fine. Along the way, you will learn something, and maybe that will lead to your passion. So do what you feel like doing at the moment, but make sure it adds value to your life. Because at sometimes all you want to do is binge watch some Netflix series or watch some back-to-back movies or something like that. So that might be what you want to do, but that is not going to add value to your life. And the third and the most important point is, don't stop yourself from trying out new things. So we often do that. There is this girl I know who started painting at a very young age, and she used to do it really well. And people told her that, this is your passion, you should pursue this. And while that was a good thing, she stopped herself from trying out anything else, anything related to other fields, even if her mind told her that she needed to try it out. So what happens is, like I said, passion can change, and when that changes, you will need something else to try. So don't stop yourself from trying different things. So with these 3 points, the next question that mostly comes to your mind is, can your passion become your profession? Or vice versa, can your profession become your passion? Again, I want you to spend some time on this and give me a one-word answer, yes or no. Do you think your passion can someday become your profession? Or can your profession become your passion? Okay, so one person says no, two people say yes. Okay, so majority go with yes. Oh, lot of yes, lot of positive people here. Okay, so yes, both answer to both the question is yes. Passion becomes your profession. This will take years of dedication, perseverance, patience, and a lot of other virtues, but it is possible. And for most people who are pursuing their passion as a side thing today, the end goal is to make it their profession. And the second thing, profession becomes passion. Now, this is very rare. It is almost 80% of the times it does not happen that way. But I personally know some people who love their jobs. They have found that something worth putting in extra effort or time. They work beyond their office hours, trying to innovate something, trying to find a new solution to a problem. And they really enjoy doing that. And that is where profession becomes your passion. So both of this is possible. So with this basic about passion, let's go on to the next more important question, continuing your profession. Now, this question, once you've found what your passion is, maybe it's a temporary thing, maybe it's a permanent thing, and you're very sure that if you put in all your hard work, your dedication, your perseverance, you are going to be successful in that. So then this question will come to your mind, why should I continue the profession? So, on an average, a person spends about 8 to 9 hours a day in his day job, and that is around 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, so 40 hours. And those 40 hours, you may or may not be doing something that will finally add up to your end goal. And then this question will keep eating you. Why am I doing this? So the first and the basic answer to this question is, it pays the bills. No matter how good you are at your profession, no matter how much effort you're going to put in it, the initial few years, it is not going to make any money. The money comes only after you have built your brand, only after a larger group knows about your product, about what art form or a book or whatever it is that you're pursuing. So until then, you will need something to pay your bills. That will keep your confidence up. Second thing, you will have something to fall back on. So many a times it happens that something you think is your passion today, 5 years down the line, it may or may not be your passion. And when you lose interest in that, you will need something to fall back on. And that will give you that boost of confidence to keep going, to venture out into a new area. And the third thing, and this is very important, having a day job, having a profession will give you the freedom to pursue your passion the way you want, because there is no pressure of generating income on your passion. You can afford to take breaks, you can afford to try out new styles, you can do whatever you want the way you want when you have a day job for your security. Now, you know the reasons why you need to continue your profession, but it is very difficult to convince yourself. How do you do it? How do you spend your time at your day job, liking it, trying to do things that you're supposed to do while your mind is towards your passion? First thing, no job is perfect. What you need to remember is whether your job is related to your passion or not, once you take it up full time, it is not going to be the way you designed it in your mind. No job is perfect. Think of your job as your life partner, your spouse. You're not going to like everything about the person. So, what do? You start focusing on the good things. When you start focusing on the good points about that person, you start all these minor setbacks, minor things which you don't like starts blurring out. Do the same thing with your job. Find that something in your job which will make those 40 hours bearable. For example, when you were in school, you would have that 1 hour of sports or art or craft where that whole day you would get ready, you would get up early and go to school and behave and do everything that you need to do throughout the day so that you can happily reach that 1 hour which you like, and that becomes your motivating factor to go through the day. Do the same thing in your job. Find that something which you may not love, which may not be your passion, but you really enjoy doing it, and that will help you to keep the day job. It'll help you to do everything that you need to do in those 40 hours a week. Now you know what passion is, how to go about it. You know why you need to keep your day job, why profession is important. Now let's talk about the more important point. How do you put the two together? Now, I'm sure at least once in your life you would have seen this diagram. A very popular book was recently written and published by the name Ikigai. Now, Ikigai is a Japanese concept which means a reason for being, and that is the core of this model. If you see, Ikigai is the perfect intersection of four circles: what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Now, passion is the intersection of what you love with what you're good at, and profession is the intersection of what you're good at with what you can be paid for. Now, what you need to focus here is your profession is something which may or may not be what you love. It is okay if you don't love it, but what you're good at and what you can be paid for, if it combines, it becomes your profession. Similarly, passion. Everything you love doing need not be your passion. For example, I love singing, but I'm not at all good at it, and therefore that is not my passion. But it is possible that if you try to incorporate a little bit of all four of the circles, your profession and passion can taper towards your ikigai. And reaching that ikigai should be the goal of your life. And that is why it's called a reason for being. I hope this diagram puts everything into perspective. So let's talk about what you need to do to make this journey of tapering profession and passion together towards your ikigai. The first virtue and the most important is compartmentalization. And I'm sure you've heard of this word many times. There are arguments saying that compartmentalization is important, and there are equally good arguments saying that it is not really needed. But I will go for the first part. Compartmentalization is to form compartments in your brain for all the important things in your life. And you try to stop people from crossing over in your brain. For example, in this picture, you can see there are people trying to cross over from the personal side, which is represented by this beautiful garden, towards the office or the professional side where you have all these cubicles. And similarly, there are people jumping over from your compartment of office to your personal life. And this is something it's very difficult to master. It is something bad goes on in your personal life, and it will tend to come back to you when you're doing your office work. And you come back home after a tiring day, the problems you were trying to solve in office will come with you to your home. And this is what compartmentalization is about. You need to train your brain to leave office work at office and personal life at home. But when you're trying to pursue passion and profession together, you will have more than two compartments. In my case, I have four compartments, four main compartments. The first thing is profession, second is passion. Passion, what I mean by this is I spend about 8 to 9 hours doing my office work. And after that, no matter how tired I am, whatever the problem is, I spend about an hour doing things related to my passion, either reading a good book or writing something, writing a blog post, etc. So passion, so that 1 hour what I spend on the passion should not be ignored. It should not be something where you think, okay, today my profession related job point is more important, I will use this 1 hour for that. That should not happen. That is what compartmentalization means. Third thing, personal life. Now, personal life is as important as any of the other compartments, but it is the most neglected of all. Okay, so we usually do that whenever we extend our professional related job, something we get the work home and we try eat up the time which we are supposed to be spending with our family. Similarly, the last and the most neglected and probably not existent for most of us is the me time. And me time is something which is not even heard of for many people. And don't confuse this with the time you spend with your family. Me time is just for you. It could be as less as 15 minutes a day, and during this time you use it to heal yourself, to relax, to focus on your thoughts. And this me time is when you come up with very good ideas that will help you in the other compartments. So this is what I had about compartmentalization, and it's a vast topic. Each of these virtues, what I'm talking about today, is a very vast topic for which you will have a lot of material online, TEDx talks and YouTube videos, which you can further explore. I'm only going to touch base on all these virtues. Now, time and energy management, the second virtue. So I'm sure time management is something you have been learning for a really long time. Energy management is fairly new. When it comes to time management, the first point that comes to my mind is social media. So I'm not saying don't use social media, because if you're working on something related to art or something of your own, even a business, social media is vital for that. What I'm saying is use social media to connect with your readers or connect with your clients and customers and to build the image, to build the brand. What you shouldn't do is don't get into unnecessary discussions and debates. A lot of people I see spend a valuable amount of their time involving themselves in discussions and debates which are not really worth it. These are discussions and arguments with complete strangers on some forums, some groups on Facebook or something like that. So don't waste your time doing that. Use your social media time also very thoughtfully. Second point, television. The day I decided that I will pursue my passion and profession together simultaneously, I said no to television. That does not mean I don't watch movies or don't watch any series, but there is an allocated time for that. I don't sit in front of the TV flipping between channels, because that is a time killer. Before you realize it, hours together, half a day or an entire day will go away when you sit in front of television. The third thing, learn to say no. And this applies for everything: passion, profession, personal life, everything. So there are a lot of times when work which you think is not really a priority, which is not going to add value, will be dumped on you just because you don't like to say no. And learning to say no is going to save a lot of time and energy for you. There are seminars and presentations which will teach you how to say no without actually using the word no, and these are worth giving a shot. The next is energy management. Now, in energy management, I'm going to mainly talk about two things: energy peaks and energy dips. Now, time is a linear commodity. Your 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening will be spent at the same rate. It's not going to be like the rate of change is not going to be different. But energy is not like that. Sometimes in your day you will have those energy peaks where you feel very alive, where you want to learn something new, do try out something new, or do your best in something. But in the second part, that is your energy dips, what happens is you feel very low. You would have lost interest in things. And if you don't spend your energy peaks doing the right things, you will lose out on that amount of energy. So, what you need to do is prioritize the most important things in your life, in your day, and assign those things to the energy peaks. Your energy peaks might be, early in the morning or sometimes late in the night. That is why you have this two category of people, late night owls and early morning birds. So when your energy peaks are there, when you identify those, do the most important thing during that time, and allot your energy dips to the least important things. For me, it is sometime in the afternoon after a heavy lunch. I really feel low on energy at that time. So if I'm in office, I spend that time doing documentation or retesting something that does not need my full attention, does not need my full energy. And identifying these peaks and dips, it is going to be hard. You will have to journal it out every day to identify this, and then you will have to use it thoughtfully. So this was the second virtue. The third virtue what I have is consistency. Consistency is as important as any other virtue, and this goes in hand with discipline. Like I said earlier, you might find your passion inspired by something, for example, a movie, a TV series, something, and you might, make up your mind and start doing that. But after a few days, you lose interest. That inspiration will wear off. And that time, what will keep you going is consistency and discipline. Also, the problem is when you start doing something and you put in your effort, you would want to see the results immediately. For example, um, you would have, thought of losing weight or gaining weight or whatever it is, work out something, and you will, go back and keep checking on if you have made any progress. And for weeks together, if you don't see any progress, you start to lose out the interest. And to overcome that, this is something I came across online, and this is what I have cut out and put it on my work desk to remind me that doing nothing at all versus small consistent effort, what is the big difference? So if you see in this equation, even a 0.01% of effort, if you put every day for 365 days, that is a year, you will have a much larger result compared to not doing anything at all. And this is a very important virtue you will have to remember. Work towards your goal every single day without any excuse, and even if you do not see any immediate results, because the dots were, as Steve Jobs said in the Harvard commencement speech, when you're doing something, when you're on a journey, the dots will never connect. You will keep asking yourself, why am I doing this? How is it adding to my end goal? But once you go through that journey, when you look back, the dots will always connect. And the last virtue, handling failures. Now, sometime back in my first slide, I had put up this, year by year journey ever since I graduated from SJC. And I'm sure a lot of you thought that things worked out very smoothly for her, both on the passion side and profession side. And I deliberately wanted you to think that, because I am going to talk about what happened in between all these milestones. So I was someone who was always an A student. I never saw failure throughout my schooling or my college, and that was something which made me believe that if I put in my 100% in something, I will never encounter failure. And that is the biggest myth which we need to bust. It is not that way. You might put all your effort, energy, you might be in the right track, but failure is going to happen, and it is only a part of the journey towards success. So when I started my internship at Intel, due to some structural changes in the organization, me and many of my friends did not get a full-time opportunity there. So at the end of graduation, I was a postgraduate and I had no job for several months. And that was the biggest failure I encountered up up until that point in my life. And today, looking back 5 years ahead, that does not feel that big a failure, but at that point, it was a big blow. But compartmentalization came into picture here. I did not stop working on my short stories or my blog just because I had encountered a failure in my profession life. I did not think about it while I was writing. And that is what made me work towards my novel. And eventually, I got a job that I really wanted to work for, and things became okay in my profession life. But here in the passion side, my novel was completed, but no one wanted to put their money and trust on a 22-year-old writer, first time writer, who had no big social media following. So that is how it works. The bigger your followers, the more sales, and only based on that, some publishers will pick up the book. And for many months after that, every day I woke up to rejection letters from different publishers. And that was again not one or two, there were around 15 or 16 rejection letters. And that is when I realized that doing everything, giving your best, does not mean that you will not encounter failures. But I kept going, and that is where consistency and discipline comes into picture, and a little bit of faith that, eventually it's going to happen. And in 2019, finally, a publisher, one of the top 10 publishers in India, saw that, this particular book, which puts in mythology along with third gender, a very sensitive topic, but it was one of a kind. There were no books written on this character of the Mahabharata before. And this publisher gave me a chance just wholly depending on the story. They did not check if, I had a big list of followers on Instagram or Facebook, or if I had any writing history, nothing like that. They just wanted to believe in my story. And even after so many rejections, so many failures, in the months to come, some of the top newspapers like Times of India and News Today, everyone spoke about the book, about how it was, first of its kind, how it was touching upon such a sensitive topic as a third gender. So, what I want to tell you is just because, after all these failures, I found success, it does not mean that there won't be any failures in the future. For my second book, no, there might be more rejections. It might take a longer time to get published. But you should not stop pursuing your passion just because someone is not believing in it. So, three main points I want to tell before I conclude is first thing, failures are not permanent. They are only, milestones in your path to success. Second thing, failures do not define it. Just because you have failed multiple times does not make you the failure. It is only a part of the journey. And third, and the most important thing, the real failure is when you stop trying. So that is all I had for today's webinar. Before I conclude, I want you to remember this saying, which was written by a famous American author, Napoleon Hill. Most great people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. Don't give up. And this is something I want you to remember, even if you don't remember anything I said in the last 30 or 40 minutes. So yeah, that is all I had. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Ashwini Shenoy, for the wonderful session. I'm sure the participants have understood how to find the perfect balance between their passion and profession. Now, moving on to the question and answer session, there are a few questions from the participants. The first question is from Mohammad Zishan. He wants to know, how can a person know that he is multitasking?
Multitasking. So yeah, that is a very controversial topic. So you will find people saying that multitasking is good, while there will be some people who will say that focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking, I personally don't think is a good thing. Multitasking generally means you are doing multiple things at the same time, provided it is like one thing is a major thing and some small things you're doing. For example, you're looking at your phone or answering to someone while you're doing something important. Things can go really bad there. But what you can do is multiplexing, where if you have 4 hours, you spend half an hour doing something, maybe next 1 hour doing something else, and you allot smaller bits of time in that uh, time slot. I hope I answered your question.
He again wants to know, is multitasking harmful?
Yeah, so that again depends on you. My opinion is multitasking is not really good because it can, if you're trying to do three different things at the same time, you might end up spoiling all the three. But I know people who have mastered this art of multitasking. So I feel you need to experiment whether you're really good at it.
Okay. Then Rajeshri Indra wants to know, passion takes more time and interest. That's why time for study is less. So what to do?
That is where prioritization works. So, you know, you will have to allocate time for your studies because that is also very important. What I used to do as a student is during my study hours, I wouldn't think about passion or about my writing or anything, but there was a separate slot allocated just for that. And during that time, I would put in all my effort. So I don't advocate, you know, compromising on your studies or your day job for your passion.
Uh, okay. One more. Rachna Singh. Rachna Singh wants to know, how do I find my passion?
So yeah, I answered that in the second slide. You need to keep trying out new things. I'm sure you would have come across more than one things where you felt like this could be my passion, but you would have shied away from trying it because you thought maybe I'm not that good at it. So you will have to try out things, and you will have to do a research on if I want to do this, how will I, what all should I do? Like when I started writing, I was good at storytelling, but I was not really good at writing, and I had to explore what are the courses available, what are the whatever certifications I can do, what kind of books do I have to read. So you will have to do a lot of research once you have that little spark saying that this could be my passion. So initial step would be trying out different things.
Okay, Ashwini. Now, next is Chetan Rai wants to know, what do you say about intelligence quotient, emotional quotient, and performance quotient?
Okay, so this is a completely different topic. Intelligent quotient, I'm sure you guys know, that is kind of metrics to measure how intelligent a person is, and that is not really a good thing, I would say. Emotional quotient is something more difficult to master. Solving puzzles and solving difficult mathematical problems can make your IQ higher, but EQ is more related to being humans, understanding your emotions as well as understanding emotions of other people. And I don't know the in-depth detail of how this is measured, but that is the difference between IQ and EQ. The professional quotient, I'm really not aware. Sorry about that.
Okay, then Nitish Kumar wants to know, what is your opinion about speed? I'm
Speed.
not, he's not speaking about sudden success.
Yes.
Opinion about speed, not speaking about sudden success.
Okay. So from that, I gather he's talking about sudden success is kind of, toxic because then you would have missed out on all the failures and different experiences you will gather along the way. Uh, Speed, I am not sure what you mean by it, but correct me if I'm wrong. You're talking about how early or what is the fastest path to reach success?
He has not mentioned that.
Okay.
He just wants to know that he's not speaking about sudden success and what is the opinion about speed. The question is not clear.
Yeah, the speed, I'm thinking it's related to
Yeah, that's fine.
reaching
That's
success
fine.
faster. Yeah.
And Nitish Chandra wants to know. He says, I am pursuing BSc Mathematics and preparing for JAM 2021. I love mathematics, but now I don't want to continue doing MSc in mathematics because it will take a lot of effort. I also like programming, so I want to pursue BSc in programming from IIT Madras. So he's asking, he's confused and he's asking, what should I do?
Okay, so if you're very particular about IIT, then you will have to start preparing for it. You will have to see what kind of subject in IIT you would want to take, if not MSc. And maths, the maths is again a very wide field. I think since we most of the panelists are from the same department, you will be able to answer better. So in maths again, you will have to find what is it that you would like to work on, and then a lot of research will go into it. I think the internet is a very powerful tool. You will have to jot it down and then narrow it down to your field of interest. And you'll also have to speak to experts in that particular area.
Okay, Ashwini. Then Dr. Ramananda HS has a question. Have you found any relation between your writing stories and the job which you are doing? Are they correlated?
There's no direct correlation, but yes, because I work, in a big team and it's a big company, I meet a variety of people, and each of them, are a potential characters for my next book. Their walking style, their personality, the way they solve problems, everything becomes a character study.
Okay. Then Swati BS is asking, what three things did you truly enjoy doing today?
Today, okay. On top of my head is this webinar. I really enjoyed this. I'm enjoying the questions. Apart from that, two things would be, I think I took a off today, so I was able to read some of my favorite books. I started reading them, and I did a little bit of writing. So yeah, these three things. Any day you ask me what are the three good things I did, it would involve reading and writing. And thanks for asking that question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Ashwini.
Yeah.
The feedback link is shared with the participants. Please fill in the form and submit. The participants will receive the e-certificate within 3 working days. We now have come to the end of the session. I request Ms. Salma Shabnam, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, to express her words of gratitude.
Good afternoon, one and all. It's my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this webinar. First and foremost, I thank the speaker of the webinar, Ms. Ashwini Shenoy, for this informative talk, which is the need of the present scenario. Thank you, Ms. Ashwini. I thank the management for giving us an opportunity to conduct this webinar. Also, I thank our HOD, Dr. Ramananda HS, and other colleagues of the mathematics department for rendering all the help required for organizing this webinar. I wholeheartedly thank Mr. Ragesh Raju, Ms. Jacinta, and the entire press and media team for helping us in the logistics of the webinar. Finally, a big thank you to all the online attendees for your active participation. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The feedback link is shared with the participants. Please fill in the form and submit. Thank you all. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay webinar.